welcome back to Double Down University. I'm back with you guys with another college basketball prospects video, and today we have a super long slate of college basketball games starting at 11 a.m. to 11:30 p.m. On East Coast time. So I just want to kind of target two of the early games with three props that I really like in this early slate of games. So the first prop I have for you guys is Tyler Burton over 6.5 rebounds. Next one is Pop Isaacs over 2.5 assists. And the next one is Armando Bacot over 10.5 rebounds. So let's get into it. As always, like to look at the spread on each game to see just how Vegas thinks each game is going to play out. So with the Villanova versus Texas Tech game, Villanova is a 2.5 point favorite, so it should be a tight, close game. It's a low total at 131, so I didn't want to really too much target points in this matchup. I wanted to do more so rebounds because it should be a lot of rebounds, and especially with the low total. Same thing for the UNC versus UNI game. They have UNC as the 11.5 point favorites. It is a fairly high total, so it should be points in this game and also should be rebounds as well. So let's get into it. I'm going to start off with the closest spread, with which we have two props in that game, which is the Villanova versus Texas Tech game. So in this game, it should be a very slow-paced game. That's probably why there is a low total at 131 for this game. Main reason because Texas Tech plays at the 240th slowest pace in the country, and Villanova plays at an even slower pace at 347th in the country. Villanova has a massive advantage inside on near proximity shots as they shoot 62% from near proximity. Texas Tech doesn't foul a lot. They're actually the 13th best team in the country at not allowing free throw attempts, so not fouling and allowing shooting fouls and free throw attempts. So, I didn't want to kind of target points in this matchup, but Burton's points could be in play as well as his PRA in this matchup. But I just want to stick to rebounds, and reason being is because Texas Tech, they shoot 20% from three-point range, which is 357th in the country, which is terrible. And then they also shoot 54% from the two-point percentage, or two-point range, I should say. And Villanova is one of the top 15 teams in opponents' two-point percentage, so that could also lead to a bunch of rebounds as well. And then they're really good at opponents' shooting efficiency, as well as Texas Tech is terrible at shooting efficiency at 232nd in the country. So all their offensive numbers are pretty bad, Texas Tech. But the reason why I chose Isaacs, and I'll get into him a little bit after I finish talking about Burton, but with Burton, I really like his rebounds, and I think he's hit this line, if I'm not mistaken. I wrote it down. So he's hit this line 22 out of his last 37 games. So 22 out of his last 37 games, and he's only missed 15 times in the last 2 years, which I combined his Richmond stats from last year, which was the larger sample size, and then this year at Villanova, which he's only missed one time by 0.5, and he's only played 20 minutes in that game, but he did put up 15 points in those 20 minutes. So he is a super productive player. He is a grinder. He is one of those type of players that will give maximum effort at all times. So he should be crashing the boards. And then I just also like with Eric. I'm a Villanova fan, but Eric Dixon, he's good, but the thing about him is he gets in foul trouble fairly too often, and I could see him getting in foul trouble, which should open up some rebounding opportunities for Burton to be able to be on the floor and get those rebound opportunities, as he's only had 4 fouls once this year, and he's had 3 fouls, 0 fouls, and 2, so he should stay on the floor. Long as this game stays competitive, he should be on the floor and be able to play more than 20 minutes. I project him anywhere between 30 to like 27 maybe at the most. At the minimum, I should say. So I really like Tyler Burton in this spot. And then transition into Pop Isaacs. I really like him in this spot. And I know all the numbers that I just recently said about Texas Tech's offense kind of contradicts what I'm saying about Pop Isaacs, but there is one weakness in Villanova's defense, is that they're really poor at guarding like the rim or perimeter or near proximity shots, like things close to the basket. And the one thing about Pop is he's the primary initiator of the offense. So everything kind of runs through him. The offense kind of runs through him. So the one way I could see him getting easy assists is off of the pick and roll, where the roll man rolls to the rim and gets an easy lob or just an easy entry pass into the post where he can just turn and score. Now with him, he has covered this line in every game except for one game, which is the first game of the year, but he played 29 minutes against Texas A&M Corpus Community College, or C. So I really like him to play more minutes for one, and then also be a competitive game to where he has more opportunities to get assists. Now last year he did average, last year he averaged 2.7 assists. So this year is a bump up. Granted, it's only been 3 games, a small sample size, but he's bumped up his assists by 1 this year. So I really like him to get these 3 assists. And with them, let me look at their lineup. So they have Joe Toussaint, who's he's not really a shooter like that. Darian Williams, not really a shooter. Warren Washington, not really a shooter. But Warren Washington is the guy I think will give Villanova the most trouble, because he's just a rim running threat. He reminds me of, if you watch the NBA, like a Rudy Gobert type of player. Block shots, gets easy, lobs to the rim. He's not a good shooter. He's not a good, away from the basket type of spot up shooter. He's more, everything has to be turn and face. Get the ball in the post, off a good entry pass, and then just turn and try to go up and score. And I think he will cause Eric Dixon a lot of problems in the post, especially with him being kind of undersized for that center role, and having Burton play power forward. So I really like Pop Isaac's assist in this spot as well. And then moving on to last but not least, Armando Bacot. Same thing for Armando Bacot. They have a huge rebounding edge on both sides of the ball, offensively and defensively, for Carolina. As you can see, Carolina has a small rebounding edge, and Northern Iowa is nothing special on the offensive glass. However, they're one of the best teams at converting second chance opportunities into points, ranking 69th in the country in this category. Meanwhile, Carolina is extremely stout on the defensive glass, and similar have done great work of curbing teams via offensive putbacks. So I really like them as well. And then they also have a rebounding edge offensively to get offensive boards and putbacks. So this favors Bacot's rebounds all day. Another thing with them is they're a really poor shooting team as well. Now, granted, positive regression is due for both of these teams, Texas Tech as well as Northern Iowa. And in order for Northern Iowa to stay in the game, they have to be able to make their three-point shots, as they are 25th, 25%, and 325th in three-point percentage, as well as from offensively, 2-point percentage, they are 54%, which is 74th in the country. But they're also, UNC is a top 5 defensive team as far as stopping shots close to the rim, as well as Villanova. So I really like this profile as well for them. You can also see a bunch of guard rebounds. So RJ Davis rebounds at 4 is not too bad. Has a lot of push potential, but I want to go with Bacot because that's what he does well. And that's what his role is for this team, is to be able to grab boards and score in the post through post-ups. So you can go his points or you can go his rebounds. I want to stick to rebounds. I don't really want to mess around with points with Bacot because he's not the greatest free throw shooter in the world. As you can see, he's only a 61% free throw shooter this year, I believe. And last year, 55, 56. So I'm not going to depend on nobody that's a low percentage free throw shooter to be able to get points. Now, granted, he can get a lot of points just off of just scoring, facing up, posting up, things of that nature. But I think that UNI has the upperclassmen bodies to be able to withstand him and be able to throw out waves of bodies against him to be able to slow him down a little bit offensively. But I just think he should be able to get his boards. As you can see, he had 13 boards the first game against Radford, 20 against Lehigh, and then he only had 7, but he played 25 minutes against Cal Riverside, I believe. But they won by a huge margin too, so he could have just benched him early. He had 1 foul in every game, so he's staying out of foul trouble. That's a big thing for him, especially in competitive games. He's prone to fouling a lot. So those are the three that I really, really like. I go back over them. I have Pop Isaacs over 2.5 assists, Tyler Burton over 6.5 rebounds, as well as Armando Bacot over 10.5 rebounds. I appreciate you guys. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.